the people that didn't know, the fans that are here today, just that you started Sigma back in 2005?
2005.
And I remember that was a time, like for me, the club football was big, but then you started seeing players go to academies as well and starting that out. But a player like Cyle, I believe Brampton, the soccer club you started with, but then going over to Sigma. What were your first impressions of Cyle? Like, was he a big striker then? Like, did he play on the wing? Like, what stood out to you about him as a person, but as a player?
Yeah, definitely got to know him when he was 11 years old, and saw him playing on a pitch one day in a couple of games, and thought, this kid can play. Yeah, he was a striker who scored goals, and then from there it was always my mentality coming back to Canada and helping in the development is how we create complete players, how we help any player develop to their true potential and hopefully reach the highest level of the game. It was a dream in 2005, but like for everyone, I think big and dream big, because I believed in players, and just watching him over the years. And how he developed and how he focused on himself and setting his path and working each and every day to become better and wanting to become better, never being happy with where he was in the moment, but understanding that he needed to do a little bit more to keep on pushing himself to where he's gotten to. And I think it's not the end result, because you always develop, you keep on going. He's in his young 30s right now. But the one thing I'm sure about is his career is going to keep on moving. He's going to keep on doing great things as he does with each club that he's been at. And I think in the end it goes back to his mentality that he had as a young kid, as a 12-year-old, and he's kept that throughout his development and his professional career.
So he had a great mentality, but like, how did you motivate him? Was he the type of player that was how I just view Cyle as a fan? Just seems very even keel, seems calm. Was he like that as a kid as well?
Yes, he was. But I think it was a good level of both, of pushing him, being tough on him in the right ways, to understand that what we did today is good enough for today, and that we need to keep on moving forward. We need to keep on getting better in certain aspects of the game, and he was always open to that as a young man, and I think he continues to do that.
The Canadian ecosystem has changed so much throughout the years, meaning I alluded to probably 20 years ago, a lot of club football now moved to academy as well. There seems like a lot more opportunity. But when you started CanMNT, did you think of a world where this would be the journey, that you're looking at someone like Cyle playing for Southampton, playing for the men's national team, scoring at World Cups? Like, just talk to me and talk to us about what the ecosystem looked like. Because for those of you who don't know, Cyle Larin was drafted first overall in the MLS. Like, that is something that is not easy to do. Like, yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for the clap. That's a big fan right there, Cyle. Yeah, thank you. But obviously it starts from good training, wanting it, right? And doing all the little things, the intangibles that you need to do at youth level. But what was that like? Did you ever think that was possible, that journey, just to start an academy and have players and products like that leave now and do well overseas?
I think, that was the concept in the beginning, and that was the think big mentality and the dream big. It's here was your plan that you were going to develop and help players reach the highest level of the game. And, you figured out very soon, we didn't have much professional soccer in this country. When Cyle was 15 years old, let's call it, there was 2 to 3 professional clubs in the country. Europe wasn't very open yet to Canadian players. We hadn't shown the world who we were. And you probably went to 6 to 8 clubs in Germany, Belgium, and around Europe. And, I'll get back to that point soon. So we had to find different paths for players like Cyle, for players like Richie Larin, who they grew up playing together, and that was going through, let's say, the college route and on scholarships. We didn't have the CPL. Today I think that route may be different, where you go back 10 years ago, Cyle may be getting his first steps here at forgefc, and then making his next step to Besiktas and everything that came after. And when you look at that, we've got talent in this country. It's a matter of how we cultivate that talent, how we work with that talent from each stage of development, not looking too forward. It's one thing I always used to tell these guys as young players: think about what you're doing today and tomorrow. Don't think about 5 years and what's going to happen. That'll naturally come, so long as you're doing the right things. And we go ahead now and we're in 2026, and Cyle and his generation of players, just like Eddie was sitting next to him before to a degree, they're trailblazers. Cyle and his generation have opened up the window to Canadian football to the world. And that's very important. I think that's something that we must understand. It's going to be a privilege for the next generations, and that's probably the biggest thing that guys like Cyle and this group and the group that went to the World Cup in 2022 have done, and it's supercharging Canadian soccer around the world. And it's going to give more and more opportunities to players to come through the system, come through a structured system of development, through the CPL, which I think is vital to everything in the Canadian ecosystem. Doesn't matter what national team we looked at in the World Cup, all those players came through their domestic leagues. Our domestic league is the Canadian Premier League. You know, I'm here today and I'll be here for years, but some days I'm not, but this league will be here for a long time. And this league will continue to develop players to play in the next generations of our national team at the highest level of the game.
Amen to that, Bobby. We're going to switch over to, definitely clap for that. It's important. We're going to switch over to the main man, David Edgar, who was a forgefc captain, forgefc assistant coach. Also, for the kids at home, do a little homework on this man, David Edgar, because I remember watching it on Sportsnet years ago, locking down CR7 and also scoring a screamer, you would probably call it. That probably still, you probably hear about that all the time for Newcastle United at the time.
Yeah, he was slightly younger then, so he was in his prime. We were both in our prime then.
And he didn't play defense at the time, but who cares about that? He was a step over king at that point. But this is David Edgar. Just give him a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank everyone for showing up to see Cyle.
Canadian international, you had a couple of years where you played next to Cyle for Canada, and I remember even for me as like a teenager just watching you and what you did in England and the fact that you were a trailblazer as well. It's always an awkward thing when you look at someone and say that you're a trailblazer, but you have to give your flowers to players like you and to players like Cyle who did it the hard way, man, and really grinded and now put Canadian soccer on the map. But I just want to talk to you about being in the locker room with Cyle. Like, what was your first impressions of him? Keep in mind, Edgar's a center back or a defender. So was he bullying you the first time at training? Was he someone that gave you a handful? Or what were your first impressions of Cyle?
First of all, thank you for those kind. Honestly, it's nice to hear. So thank you for that. But yes, Cyle did bully me. I remember his first session. Truthfully, look, Cyle was this size when he came in at 19, right? He was this big, and he's shy, he's quiet, but not on the pitch. And you've seen that, and Canadians have seen that over this World Cup campaign and previous to it. But he knew where the back of the net was, and he came in at a time where Canada wasn't scoring many goals, and it was a perfect time for Cyle. And he came in with an attitude that was, I'm here to play, and he came in for a position, and he's got all the credit. He's gone in for what, that was 10 years ago now, over 10 years ago, right? So it's pretty cool. The cool thing is being able to watch the World Cup now and watch Cyle, and then know that I got to share a locker room with him when we were on our own journey prior to that, trying to get to a World Cup, right? So, but Bobby said it there, what they have done, their generation has opened the doors to these young Canadians wearing Canada jerseys and Larin jerseys and things like that. So it's just pretty cool to be able to sit next to him and be able to watch him on the pitch.
So what's impressed you the most? You're looking at 19-year-old Cyle, now you're looking at 32-year-old Cyle, ironically enough has 31? I try to age you, puppy. Sorry, man. 31. Yeah, I was waiting for him to speak, you know. He's like, 31. But has 32 goals. That's what it is. You have 32 goals for Canada. But what has impressed you the most about his journey and just his game overall?
I know Bobby and I talked a couple years ago, and it was about how hard Cyle worked individually on his, not his weaknesses in the game, but what he needed to get better at and the things he was good at. He just worked his butt off, basically, to get better. And I think there's a lot of credit to be said in that, because it's not easy as a striker. It's easy for people to say, oh, you should be scoring, you should be doing this, but you get out and do that, right? It's not an easy thing to do, and that's why they get paid the big money, right, as strikers. But they also take the pressure on their shoulders. And Kyle's bounce back ability, I like to use that word, I don't know if that's a real word.
I like it.
Bounce back ability to be, and it's tough as a striker to have longevity in the game at this level is credit to the big man.
Also periods as well for a striker. Like a defender, you know when you're having a good game. Midfielder, your job, you're the worker, you gotta be in the engine room. For a striker though, sometimes, yeah, you get all the glory, but there's also droughts, right? To just be resolute and keep grinding. It's a real thing. But Eddie, you're coaching right now, Waterloo United, a dad as well. You got to see the World Cup here in Canada, which for me is a pinch me moment. I didn't think in my lifetime I'd ever see that on the men's side. What was it like seeing the kids you coach, your daughters, experience this World Cup? Like what stood out to you about it?
truthfully, I think it was the coolest thing for me was seeing my daughters, the hype, and they got. I think my daughter's got her first crush in Jude Bellingham now. So,
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it was that it galvanized the whole country, and seeing the scenes in Vancouver and all across Canada, it was incredible to see. I know you guys probably were quite insulated and didn't get to see a lot of that, and that's the downside to playing. You don't see it. You get the bus, Bobby knows, you get the bus to the stadium, you don't hear the noise, you go under, and then you come out. But that's what you do it for the love of what you got going to score that goal against Bosnia. It must have been incredible.
As an ex-pro, you know this better than anyone. Like, belief is a real thing. Like, for me, confidence kind of comes and goes, but belief, actually thinking that you can go and do something. This generation, specifically Cyle, like, what does that mean to you, seeing that belief kind of manifest, someone to go and do it? What do you think is going to do for the next generation of players?
Well, I think Cyle probably touched on this himself as well, but when he first came to the team, I don't think there was a belief that we would get to where you guys are at now as a nation. I don't think there truly was. And we were playing for the love of the Maple Leaf and whatnot, but they came in with a belief for the next generation, for you guys out there. They wanted to trailblaze, and there's that word, but it is for the next generation of Canadians to want to play the game, to want to show up to these stadiums, and then to want to play for the national team one day.
I love it. Thank you, Eddie. We're all going to have a panel in a little bit. We're all going to chime in and talk. But I'm just going to go off script here a little bit because the Spirit's telling me to do this. We're going to speak and hear from the main man, Cyle Larin. But I want to just tell a quick story, and I want Cyle to just stand right there in the middle and face me.
No, Cyle.
Only because I know he's very shy, so we got to give him a warm welcome. But Cyle Larin did something when he scored against Bosnia and Herzegovina that has gone viral in my house. So quickly, I have a 4-year-old son who his ears don't work. Like, he can hear, but his ears do not work. And he's not scoring goals and doing this now. He's doing that when I'm talking to him. Like, hey, Jacques, it's time for bed. He's going like this. Because he's seen Cyle Larin do it at the biggest stage. So I kind of want a nice little picture of Cyle doing that facing us, and everyone around here get nice and tight, and you do that celebration that for me went viral. Can we just get a photographer? Come, Cyle, right here, big man. You stand here, you face us, you do the celebration, and then the cameramen, camera women, just take a nice picture of Cyle when he did that, because that for me was such a viral moment. And a little icebreaker for Cyle, because I know, get that smile out. All right, on the count of 3, everyone ready? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the stadium wasn't silent when you did that, though. Shout out to Cyle. Let's give him a round of applause, everyone. Former Sigma FC alum, current Southampton striker, Canadian men's national team, 32 goals, 31 years old. Big man, Cyle Larin, thank you for being here, man. Thank you. Has it sunk in yet? Like, I know for me, watching as a fan and commentating on the game, like, it's so surreal. The games that were here in Toronto, but the games that are here in Canada, the World Cup in general. But for someone like you, being at your second World Cup, at 31 years of age, scoring in 2 matches, like, has all of that sunk in yet?
Yeah, I think a bit, but I think like before the tournament, it's a bit different now. But like when I walk around a bit now, like it's hard. It's not hard to walk around, but you kind of get noticed more, and just training at like local fields, like you start getting noticed more. So I think it's sunk in, and just looking back at the games, the Bosnia, Qatar, and all these games, and just like seeing replays of that, and sometimes there's still games showing on TV, and then the TSN, like some of those videos, like I get to see it now, I get to watch it because it's on TV now, but it's all starting to sink in, and to see what we actually did.
What comes to mind when you think about the World Cup, and how many weeks were you guys together? 6? How many weeks were you together like in camp? 6 weeks?
3 months, it felt like.
Forever, but like, what comes to mind when you think about just the whole World Cup and the whole World Cup experience for you?
No, it was a long journey, but I think from the beginning, like all the work you put in, it even starts back from my season. I think that's important too. Like the form I was in, and playing in Southampton and playing games, and just coming into camp, and like the fitness and all those hard sessions we are we train now, but it's sorry, I'm a little nervous here.
Nah, it's good. You're good.
Just those hard sessions, we work hard every day, and then just each game by game, and our first win, our first point, like it's just amazing. And for the team, I think each game we started to believe more, and from every player, and we think we can beat any team out there. I think that's the most important thing. Like Eddie said, back in the day when I first came to Canada, like we weren't going into games to kind of win. Like we're just going into games to survive.
Yeah.
And I think any games we play now, like most of the guys are just like the mentality is like we can win these games, because at a certain point, if you're on that pitch, like if you're on a pitch with Messi or these guys, like you're there for a reason, and
It's true.
we can win.
Yeah, there's a brash confidence about this group, but also with you, right? Like I know Bobby has said it, Eddie has said it, that you're just kind of an even keel, but you can see like your presence when you play. You believe in yourself. You believe that you can go and do it.
Yeah.
There was a big moment. There's a couple of big moments for Canada, but obviously the ones that kind of set things off was the goal against Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Yeah.
And I know leading up to it, for me, it was one of those situations, who should play, who shouldn't play. But I remember when you subbed onto the pitch, being like, this man's upset. And can you flip that energy and make it work out for you? Was it your first touch of the game, the goal?
Yeah.
So just talk to me about that. Like, you know that Kone beats his man, plays Promise plays you around the corner. Like, is it sheer anger, frustration? Do you just talk to us about what is going through your mind right before that you hit that ball and as you score that goal?
No, just like not starting that game. I think it's brought a lot of energy, and I wasn't obviously everyone wants to play and then start, but I wasn't like, I was upset for a bit, and because it's a home World Cup, you want to play and all the work I've put in. But I think once the game starts, I'm 31 now. I have no time to be angry that long, and I know when I get on the pitch I have to perform. So it was a bit of build-up from the past years and all the work I put in, and then I was just ready to score at any chance I got, to be honest. And I know I was in form and I was feeling good. So, but the build-up to that play, to be honest, it's I didn't think if the ball was coming. It was all instinct, and I like when you're in form and you're scoring goals, any touch you have, like you're in a better state, you're better feeling. So I think that was an important part of scoring that goal.
Like, if anyone's watched you throughout your career, you know, like in and around the box, you take your time and you find a corner. Like you're a cold-blooded killer for sure with your finishing as well. So that boded true as well. And I'm glad that I just backed you early. I'm like, yo, Kyle could do damage, and you actually did. And it was a big moment for Canada when you did that. So beautiful. How does it feel for you though? Big goals that I think about, one against Jamaica where I froze that day when you guys qualified. Big goal there. Trinidad, huge goal for Nations League. Was this one, Bosnia-Herzegovina, the biggest one for you in the Canada jersey?
Yeah, I think it's probably the biggest because it's a World Cup goal, and I've always wanted to score in a World Cup, and all those other games are important to me. But I think one of my goals was scoring in the World Cup, and I got to do that, so it's a special one.
People always talk about when you score a goal, it's hard to do. You go and celebrate the way that you want. But I think for me, two things stuck out. Is I will say that you flipped the energy, meaning you didn't start, you came on, you made sure that you scored. You kind of said, look, I can do things in a big moment. Yeah. But also, you weren't even keel. Like you were there going, covering your ears and screaming as well. Like, was this kind of the World Cup and that moment where you just connected with the fans in a different way? Like, did you feel that in that moment?
Yeah, it was probably the most connection I've had in a while with the Canadian fans, just because of the moment and the past couple of years, and with coming to the national team. I mean, I wasn't scoring so much, wasn't playing in club level, but and obviously when you don't score, you get criticized a lot, and then people just speak and say you should be playing, you shouldn't be playing, and you don't score, you do score. But I think that moment was a special moment just to reconnect with the fans, and I've always told the Canadian fans I'm here for Canada when they need me, and I did that.
No, that proves true. If we look at your career and the times that you stood up big for Canada, that's big. All right, for the kids, I know you want to go and play. We're literally going to just do a panel now, ask a few questions, and then we'll open things up. Eddie, got a question for you. How important is it for young players to have a professional league like the Canadian Premier League, or the Super League as well, to just like earn their keep, learn their craft? Like, how big is it for Canada to have professional leagues and just to grow the game?
It's so massive. It's so key to have this on your doorstep, to be able to come here on a Wednesday night, a Saturday afternoon, watch professional football on your front door, and all across Canada it's key to our success as a national team. It's key to our success as a nation. But like Bobby said, Kyle probably would have got his start here had this league. I would have got my start here had this been around, right? We had to pack a bag, and it teaches us a lot. As about who Bobby said, he went to 6 different places before you found a team, right? And then you came back and did the draft. You learn a lot about yourself in those ages too. But what you said before about these young players coming in and a mix of older players in the CPL is them learning their craft, right? It's having them ready to go and then make an impact in the world stage. So people are talking about Canadian soccer for years and years to come.
You lived the flip side. You came. Sorry, I was just going to say, and Eddie is a great example of the flip side, not just the young player, but the experienced player who came into this league towards the end of his career and was able to give a lot into the players as well. Not only be able to compete, because Eddie played for how many years, remind me, as a professional
I think it was
player?
17, yeah.
17, and you won your first championship?
On the 16th.
The 16th year here at Forge, right? So, that's, yes.
Yeah. It's not easy to win trophies in football.
It's not easy to win. But, Eddie was able to gain from that as a professional at the end of his career, and a lot of our younger players were able to gain the experiences from Eddie and him traveling around and playing and all of the experiences he had as a national team player, playing in the Premier League, playing in the Championship in the UK. So it's the ecosystem allows for everyone to win.
This question is just for Kyle. I'm curious about all the kids here right now that are in different stages in the career, but what advice would you give to them in terms of the game and their development? Like what throughout your career have you taken with you that as you give back to the young kids that are coming up, what would you say to them about the game of football and just how they approach things?
Yeah, I think in tough moments, you got to keep doing the same thing you've always been doing, and that's like putting in the small work every day. Either it's some technical work or gym or just anything. Like even if you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think you just got to keep going, and if you really want it, you'll get there. I think that's the most important thing, and the hard work. So, yeah.
You learned that from Bobby.
Yeah.
Definitely, the hard work is the one for sure. All right, this is the last question. Three of you guys got to answer. But what's the biggest opportunity for Canadian soccer right now? We just had co-hosted a Men's World Cup, made it to a round of 16, which is still crazy when I say it out loud. But it feels like we're in this stage right now where we've had such a good vibe. We want to keep it going. How do we do that, Bobby?
First and foremost, just from the general public, is support the Canadian Premier League, support the ecosystem of Canadian soccer from all levels. From the youth, by being out there playing, by those who need to volunteer in the system to make sure all the kids are playing, to those coaching, working with the players, to the responsibility of youth development, to push and progress for the best of the player, not the best of the team, not the best of the standings, but the best of the player, because your biggest trophy in youth development is your players. And that's always been my motto in youth development, and keep on bringing that up, and that energy that we had and we all felt throughout this last 6 weeks, that we keep it going, and we can keep it going best by supporting our football teams across CPL, NSL, and everyone that's around in the ecosystem.
Eddie, for you, biggest opportunity right now for Canadian soccer, just on a global scale?
Yeah, I would have to agree with Bobby on that as well. I mean, more now that I've been at the professional level, the international level, abroad and here, and now I'm coaching like youth football. I would say more professional clubs, which produces more professional coaches and more professional environments for the kids to go out and hopefully produce the next Cyle Larin. I think kids want to aspire to be somewhere. I was a kid who wanted to play at Newcastle, which was through the other side of the pond, right? But had there been a forgefc here, I would have said, Dad, take me there. I want to be like, maybe not Kyle Becker, but yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. How can we produce the next Cyle Larin, Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David?
You're in it right now, Kyle. You're living it, scoring goals, producing big moments for Canada, but obviously the vibes aren't done. This is just getting started, but from your perspective, what do you think is needed? Like, how do you see this moving forward? Last word to you.
I'm gonna keep it short. Invest in the youth.
Look at that. Plain and simple. I love it. Thank you guys. Remember, Bobby Smyrniotis, the bearded wonder, Cyle Larin, 31, scored 32 goals, still ticking. And David Edgar, do not get into a tackle with this guy. You will not come out the same. We're going to just take a picture quickly and then the fun will start. But thank you guys for being attentive, for listening, and just bringing the good vibes. Appreciate you.